Our census has doubled, being that we're trying to help as many children as possible. And when a census doubles, other things come along with it. More expenses on food, on clothing, on basic needs, on field trips, outings. It has doubled as well. And as you all know, we do receive a moderate reimbursement rate from the state, but that doesn't cover all the expenses involved with the children. Now, not only do we double our expenses, but we have to double our staffing to accommodate all these children that were coming into our center. So obviously the capacity crisis is affecting our operations.
We have a lot of kids that are without placement, as they call them, the CWAP kids. And actually last week I just went and toured some of the different CWAP facilities that we have in Harris County. It included hotels. I see a couple of kids that were in the CPS office. And then they also have one house where they're housing the children. So just to kind of see that perspective of what it's like for them. Being in a CWAP, being without a placement, and just kind of that displacement was, it was very eye-opening. You get to see a couple kids at a hotel, which someone might think that that's cool, but they're not doing a whole lot. The agency in Harris County, at least, has tried to come up with the different places where they can go during the day. During the summer, it's even more difficult because during the year they were trying to get them to go to school and increase activities for them, and now in the summer there's just a little bit less downtime. But the reality is, with the kids don't have a placement, and we're having without living in a hotel, living in an office, living in a house. They've done churches. I mean, they've really tried everything. They lose that sense of themselves, that somebody cares for them. There's somebody they're responsible. They're constantly having interchanging caregivers. They're having to change different placements. And it's really hard to get kids that are stable. And without stability, then we can't really start getting to the root of what's causing this placement disruptions, which often is the trauma that they've experienced.
Impact here in Harris County has been kind of frightening, to say the least. Even though typically on average in foster care, there may be upwards of about 7,000 children in the foster care system, we're normally talking about anywhere from 30 to 55 children who refuse to go to placement. And I've learned from the folks who are actually doing the work, whether they work directly for DFPS, whether they are my client at Harris County Resources, they are anecdotally telling me the things that are going on in CWAP, and it is alarming. And soon, and very soon, this crisis is going to spill over into the criminal justice sector for these children. And we will have, as a community, provided a disservice to the children who we're trying to save, right?
I was telling somebody the other day that it really feels like we're all working inside of a pressure cooker right now, is really the best way that I can describe it. We are, diligently trying to create new capacity, particularly for kids that are older and sibling groups that I know can be really difficult to place. But multiple times a day, we're getting requests to place kids that are currently in CPS offices and have been for days, weeks, even months sometimes, the requests that we're seeing. And so it's trying to sort of figure out what's the priority? How do we manage all of this while making safe decisions, good decisions for our families? And it can be a real challenge.
The capacity crisis has definitely impacted youth, but in several different ways. When we started in community-based care, we wanted to make sure that children were placed in a 50-mile radius of their home base. And right now, because there's not very many placements for them, they're going outside of the state. So kids are getting separated from their families and their communities and their support systems way more often than what they need to be. And we're really way away from that model that we wanted to be at. The other thing is that once you do find a placement for them, Boysville has been able to partner with Bexar County in opening up a STEP program, and then now helping out CWOP children. But those children stay in those temporary placements for very long until they can find a placement. And if you don't have a residential treatment facilities or placements that take higher acute children, then those children don't get to move on and just start on their new lives. They're just kind of stuck in a shelter placement. So our crisis is really affecting our children in a major way, which needs to be corrected as soon as possible.